everybody. Good morning. So, we're going to do another live today. Usually, I only do it once a week, but I thought it would be nice to maybe do two a week for the True Stories Crime Channel. So, welcome to C&C with Sherry. Coffee and chat. Okay, so today I want to dissect the arrest affidavit of Chris Watts. Now, he was arrested back in August, right? And there's been a few people who have read the arrest affidavit, but I'm not sure that all of us have read the arrest affidavit. So I want to go over some of this with us together. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Okay, so he's charged, obviously, with the 3 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of tampering with the deceased body, 2 counts of trusting, like a minor trusting him, and then 1 count of, um, uh, you know, sorry, I'm stumbling my words. It's live. It's like you better get it together. um, well, thank you, Chef Betsy. That was awesome. I've never had that before. That's amazing. Thanks. So okay, and the last charge, sorry, was him terminating the pregnancy that Shanann Watts was pregnant with. So, all right, so let's just start off with the narrative. On October 13th, 2018, at approximately 13:40 hours, Officer Coonrod was dispatched to 2825 Saratoga Trail on a check well-being call. So we're all very well aware of that. The reporting party, Nicole, her friend, had called about her friend Shanann Watts. Nicole stated she dropped Shanann off at her residence at around 1:48. Um, After returning from a business trip that took place in Arizona, Nicole stated Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant and was not feeling well during her trip. Okay, so later that morning, Nicole became concerned because Shanann was not answering her phone calls or text messages and also missed her doctor's appointment that was scheduled for 10 a.m. Nicole went to Shanann's residence and discovered her car in the garage with car seats positioned inside of it. Shanann and her husband, Christopher Watts, have 2 daughters, Celeste Watts and Bella Watts. Nicole attempted to enter the front door, but a latch prevented it from opening more than 3 inches. Nicole called Christopher Watts and requested he come home to check on Shanann, as she believes Shanann may be suffering or passed out due to some medical conditions. Upon arrival, Officer Coonrod checked all windows and doors, including the rear slider door, and discovered all of them were locked with no way into the house. Officer Coonrod contacted Chris and asked for the code to the outside garage door keypad. Chris stated it didn't work, but that he was only 5 minutes away. When Christopher arrived, Officer Coonrod entered the home with Chris's consent in an attempt to locate Shanann and their 2 children, but discovered they were not in the home. When questioned by Officer Coonrod, Chris said Shanann arrived home from her trip around 2 a.m. Chris said he woke up around 5 a.m. and began talking to Shanann about marital separation and informed her he wanted to initiate the separation. Chris stated it was a civil conversation and they were not arguing but were emotional. Chris stated around 5:27 a.m. he packed his truck up to the garage door, backed his truck up to the garage door to load it up, took with tools and left for work, and that Shanann was in bed when he left. Note: a neighbor's video surveillance system recorded this event. Chris says Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house later that day with their 2 children, but didn't know their friend's name, or didn't know the friend's name. Chris, who works at Anadarko, stated he went to a job site near Hudson to check on it. Okay, so at Officer Coonrod's request, Detective Bohmhover responded to the scene and arrived at approximately 2:35. Upon arrival, Detective Bohmhover, was briefed by Officer Coonrod and also learned Shanann's personal effects, including her cell phone, purse, wallet, and medication, were located in the house. Upon entering the residence, Detective Bohmhover observed Shanann's purse on the kitchen island and a suitcase located at the bottom of the stairs leading to upstairs bedrooms. A pair of women's shoes were located near the front door. Upstairs, Detective Bohmhover observed the bed in the master bedroom had been stripped of its bedding, which was lying on the floor. Officer Coonrod and Detective Bohmhover both checked the bedding for signs of foul play, but found nothing. In a loft area located between the bedrooms was Shanann's cell phone that Detective Bohmhover later learned was found between two cushions of a sofa located in the loft area. I wonder who found that phone because it doesn't actually tell us. So next paragraph says, on scene, Detective Bohmhover asked Chris to walk me through the period of time when he last saw Shanann. Chris said Shanann arrived home from the airport at approximately 1:48 a.m. on the 13th of August. At approximately 4 a.m., he informed Shanann he wanted to go through a separation and they were both upset and crying. Chris said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house that day. Chris said at approximately 5:27 a.m., Chris backed his work truck into the driveway to load up tools and shortly thereafter drove off to a work site near Hudson. Neighbor Nathaniel, home video surveillance shows Nicole's leaving at 1:48 a.m. At 5:27 a.m., Chris's truck is observed backing into the driveway and leaving a short time later. Okay. Now, what happened to any of the footage that might have been before that? Was he seen coming in and out of the house? Was he seen carrying something in and out of the house? I'm not sure yet. But let's continue. Chris provided consent to check Shanann's phone and ultimately surrendered it to allow Detective Bohmhover to examine it for information leading to Shanann's and daughter's whereabouts. So if Chris had to provide the consent about the phone, then maybe it was him that had it the whole time. Could he have possibly deleted things? I mean, I obviously know with our technology, they're going to be able to look onto anything that may have been deleted. So anyways, we'll carry on here. And then it says, Bohmhover transported the phone to the Frederick Police Department where it has remained since Detective Bohmhover collected it. A neighborhood canvass was conducted for several hours later that evening by patrol and a check well being BOLO was initiated through dispatch. On the 14th of August, at approximately 700 hours, Detective Bohmhover learned neither Shanann nor the girls had returned to the residence. So what does that mean? Was it never seen then? Like it says that Nicole was seen dropping off Shanann, and then all of a sudden now it's saying on the 14th, the detective learned that neither Shanann nor the girls returned home to the residence? So that doesn't make any sense to me. That's really confusing. Detective Bohmhover requested an immediate press release be issued and initiated assistance from CBI and ultimately the FBI. Two-day investigation revealed Chris was actively involved in an affair with a coworker, which he denied in previous interviews. Now, this portion is blacked out, as you can see, and that's not me that did that. It was done on the report. So there's no way to see what information is there, but I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the affair that he was having. Next paragraph says, in a subsequent interview, Chris asked to speak with his father, who was present at the police department. Chris said he would tell the truth after speaking with his dad. After being allowed to speak with his father, Chris stated after he told Shanann he wanted a separation, he walked downstairs for a moment and then returned to his bedroom to speak with Shanann again. While in the bedroom via baby monitor located on Shanann's nightstand, he observed Bella sprawled out on her bed and Blue and Shanann actively strangling Celeste. Chris said he went into a rage and ultimately strangled Shanann to death. Chris said he loaded all three bodies onto the back seat of his work truck and took them to an oil work site identified as the workplace he worked at, Anadark, I think it was called. Chris said he buried Shanann near two oil tanks and dumped the girls inside the oil tanks. Chris was presented an aerial photograph of the tank battery area and identified three separate locations in which he placed the bodies. Prior to Chris's confession, investigators arrived with consent to that work site to initiate a drone search of the area. At approximately 4:15 p.m., investigators spotted a bed sheet in the field near the tank battery. The sheet matched the pattern of several pillowcases and a top sheet recovered from a kitchen trash can from the Watts residence earlier that day. That search was conducted with prior consent provided by Chris. The drone search also revealed fresh movement of dirt consistent with a clandestine grave near the oil tanks. So now I want to know, why the heck was there sheets inside the house in the garbage, right? Because, one of them she's wrapped up in out at the oil thing. And then, excuse me. And then the other officer finds some in the bath or in the house, like it's in the trash can. So that's just odd too. And the fact that he had to give consent on her phone is a little bit leery. Now we do have some more new information because there was more paperwork that was filed on Friday, yesterday. So Chris Watts' attorney is still concerned with the fact that the prosecution seems to have witnesses or evidence or things that they aren't disclosing to the rest of the defense, to the other side of this argument. So I just wanted to read a few things off of this that I found a little bit interesting. So it says the counsel for Mr. Watts remains concerned about the government's spurious claims related to tainting witnesses who have yet to be interviewed. Counsel remains specifically concerned that the government possesses information that the defense does not have. So if they do have any evidence, they are supposed to turn that over so that both sides can look at it. They can form their defense knowing what the prosecution's argument is, right? So it's not clear what information the government possesses that would lead them to have like the conclusion that witnesses could be tainted or minds could be changed or swayed after they hear or see this autopsy report. So it's odd, that the defense isn't worried about the coroner's report. It even states that the counsel for Mr. Watts cannot share the coroner's apparent competence. So it's interesting, that they may not be agreeing for some reason. And I'm wondering if that's going to cause for another coroner to come in and have another opinion, and if that's going to be somebody from the defense's choosing, or what's going to happen there. If the court were to allow the extraordinary request, Mr. Watts would be denied the opportunity not only to challenge the evidence, but also, and obviously more egregiously, to even know what the evidence is. So, I mean, they have to give him the opportunity to know what the evidence is against him so that they can build a defense, right? I mean, that's just a due fair process of trial and stuff like that. So regardless, I would really like to know what's happened in the autopsy report. That's kind of like, is it showing maybe a smaller set of hands? Because Chris Watts' hands are probably so much bigger than Shanann's. A strangulation, I think, would show the difference in the size of that hand, personally. And I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or physician or, forensic anything at all. But that's just my guess, is that, this autopsy report may actually show a different set of hands. Now, we don't know. It's just a guess, but it's kind of like ironic that none of this report is going to come out because they're worried about them agreeing with the defense. So makes you really wonder if there's any truth to the other side of that story, So the last thing that I found interesting in the newest motion, and this motion was filed for an alternative relief in the event that his motion to intervene pursuant to the Colorado Criminal Code is denied. So basically, he needs to know that he can have a hearing like now if they're not going to be providing any more information to discuss this with the judge, right? So it says here, if the civil court denies the request to intervene, due process requires this honorable court to hold a hearing anyway. Denying such a hearing continues to erode and undermine Mr. Watts' rights to meet and defend the accusations against him, to learn of constitutionally significant evidence and ultimately to a fundamentally fair proceeding comporting with due process of law. So, he's going to have the process that we would all want to have, right? I mean, no matter what you do that's wrong, you're going to want to have your day in court about it, right? So, regardless of that, is there anybody else that has any questions about that? We're only about 15 minutes in here. I do find it quite interesting how much information and evidence is just not available for this case. It's sort of keeping everybody at bay, including all of the motions that were filed from all of the different news crew agencies and establishments. Like everybody, all of the bigger news channels all tried to file motions in order to follow this case, and they were all denied. So weird. Is everybody else having coffee? What time is it everywhere else? For me here in Manitoba, it is 9:45 a.m. So I thought I would do another live. I know it's a Saturday, but I'd like to just maybe start doing a couple a week just to sort of chat with everybody and touch base. Go through any questions or whatever. The Turpin case is quickly coming up. And then we also have the MacArthur case. So the serial killer here in Canada, in Toronto, that was arrested. 3:45 in the UK, 2:45 in Iceland. So cool. Nice. So maybe not having coffee then anymore. Maybe you're getting closer to the wine hour, maybe. But yeah, it's kind of an ironic thing that's all happened. No coffee. Yeah, I wouldn't want any at that hour myself. I would probably be up all night, staring at the ceiling, trying to count sheep or something. I recently watched the show on Jodi Arias. She had like a kind of like a documentary, sort of a show done about her case, and maybe a glass or two later on. Love my wine, Annie. I love my wine. I'm a red wine fan personally, but I do like my white once in a while. Missed your flight. Oh, going to Germany. I'm German and I would love to see Germany one day. Spending the night in Iceland. That's probably so cool. Lucky you, Tina. That's awesome. Hey, Rumpelstiltskin. Makes you wonder if the truth is strangulation. Yeah, it really, really does. Like, there's got to be something more to this if they're not wanting to release any of this stuff. Only Watts has given that scenario. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, good observation. Law enforcement has not confirmed the case of death. That's very true. Yes, it's very true. What do you think some of the other possibilities could be? I'm curious to know what other people might think. Coffee, love it, Rumpelstiltskin. I would love to have a coffee with you sometime to just talk about, cases and just whatever the interesting side of things. Yes, they did find her phone in the attic. And what's weird is that we don't know who found it, because even in the arrest affidavit, it just states that her phone was found in between two cushions in the attic. Yeah, it was in between two bedrooms. So there must have been like a sitting room or kind of like an office room. I think I remember her doing a video with one of her sheikhs, and she was sitting in that room. I believe that was the room they're talking about. Yeah, the attic lounge. Yeah, that makes sense. But what do you think maybe some of the other possibilities of the causes of death? Hi, Rumpelstiltskin. Like if they, I don't know. I'm not sure if they would have even checked that sheet very properly for foul play. I guess maybe there may not have been any blood, but could he have used that for strangulation? I don't know. Cause. Yes, I knew you meant cause. Yes. I knew my phone was in there. Maybe she was trying to get in. I wonder if she wasn't sort of talking with friends or family about whatever was going on with her and Chris. I wonder if she was sort of telling people what was going on. She had a best friend, but we haven't heard very much from her. Well, that's what I was kind of asking you, Rumpelstiltskin, is what else do you think that he maybe could have done? Because hi, Nancy, here for a bit in your car running errands. Oh, lovely. Oh, it was the police that found it because I was reading the arrest affidavit, Rumpelstiltskin, and it actually doesn't state. It just says that her phone was located. So that paragraph reads, in a loft area between the bedrooms was Shanann's cell phone. Oh, it does say that oh no, that Detective Bonehover later learned was found between two cushions of a sofa located in the loft area. So we don't actually know if it was the officers that found it or, because it later states that Chris provided consent to check Shanann's phone and ultimately surrendered it to allow Detective Bonehover to examine it. So I'm guessing Detective Bonehover asked Chris where he found the phone, and Chris ended up telling him where that phone was found, and that's how they have it. But I don't know if it was the officers that found it. On the search. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the officers that found it because it was Chris that turned it over to them. Hello, Farah. And yes, and this whole thing is a secret. You are right. I'm wondering, Danielle, if you're not right. I wonder if he was home alone because of this blacked out piece here. And that was right, like it says, day two investigation, Chris revealed Chris was actively involved in an affair with a coworker, which he denied in previous interviews. And then the rest of that phrase or that paragraph is blocked out. So it's possible that he had an accomplice, and I'm wondering who that may have been and what the heck all happened, obviously. That's why we're talking about it. You think he acted alone, Rumpelstiltskin? You know what else is weird is that they say that he says that he loaded all three bodies up onto the back of his truck, in the back seat of his truck. Yet you could see the back seat of his truck apparently from when he backed his tailgate up to the garage to load in tools. So, like when they took the dogs in. Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, yeah, it does. It did state that they used cadaver dogs, but that was more on the news. It wasn't in this report. The report states that they used FBI and CBI, which I don't know what the heck CBI is. That sounds like a really stupid blonde question, you guys. But I'm like, shoot, what is CBI? Because I know what the FBI is. I'm sure it's going to be like the easiest thing. Be like, oh, as if that's what it was. But I'm the kind of person that's not going to act like a know-it-all. If I don't know, I'll ask. I feel like you kind of stop living if you think you know everything. Like, I don't know. Oh, Chicago Bureau of Investigation. See, I'm like, oh. But yeah. So I guess they had assistance from both those authorities. Oh, it's the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Kelly? Instead. It's probably Colorado, hey, Rumpel? Or sorry, Farah. Sorry, that was Farah that said that. Sorry. What about his phone? Good question, Anne. Where the hell is his phone? I bet you it was him, though, that got his family to delete all of his social media. because, all of a sudden everything was gone for him before anybody really had a chance to friggin' go and get something. So who knows if there was videos on there of his that showed Shanann maybe not being so nice or something. I don't know. Shanann's family. Yes, Rumpelstiltskin. Dieter is still in the family. I do wonder what the heck might be on his phone though, because he would have had one as well. Probably proof of his affairs, right? That he's talking with other women. Wrong state, yes, Farah. Yes, Rumpelstiltskin is an awesome benefit to this channel. I really, really love having him here. I think you're him, I'm pretty sure. But he actually is a little bit closer to, the situation, I guess, a little bit more internally closer to the situation. So it is really nice to have that kind of, that kind of like encouragement, or like, here, check this out because it's interesting, or, yeah, his family is MIA. But here's the thing that I think about that, Farah. If any of them are planning on testifying or had any information for either side, prosecutor or defense, they wouldn't want, neither side would want these people to be talking to the media, and like then that could be misconstrued with whatever their testimony is, and that could cause a really big legal fight, depending on what they get asked or said in the public's eye, and then what they might say on the stand. His parents have been out of the spotlight, Danielle, but I think that there's good reason. I think the lawyers came and grabbed a meeting with them right away and got whatever information they could get from them, and then asked them to be quiet, keep quiet, and probably even sign something to keep them quiet until the court case is over. Because there's probably people coming at them left, right, and center from the media, offering to pay them for some of their story, for any information. And the second that something kind of gets out in the wrong way, it can be blown up and completely ruin, Chris Watts' chance at a fair trial. And if that happens, you guys, then he's probably going to walk. And we don't want that, right? I mean, we do want to know what the hell happened. If it wasn't fully him, great, but probably because his father is. Yeah, Rita, you're right. I believe that he was coached by his father before he went in for his statement, in a sense, and that's why he had told the officers, like, I'll tell you the truth and everything, but I want to talk to my dad first. Probably because his dad, he knew, would be on his side, Farrah, what's my opinion on what? Sorry, hun. Legally, don't they need to check his phone? Absolutely, Nancy. And I'm sure they have and already did. It's already stuff that's in evidence that we just don't have that information yet. Excuse me. Chris Watts just seemed like a robot in the videos of Shanann on Facebook. Yeah, he really did. He just seemed like uncomfortable. Like it wasn't his forte, or it wasn't his, domain. Rumpelstiltskin, it's the Central Bureau of Investigation? Okay. Yeah, that would probably make the most sense, I guess. If it was included with an FBI statement, that it would be more like Central. Or what about the girl's funeral? The girl's funeral was beautiful. Did you not see any of it, Farah? I don't think the father is an officer. I think he is a mechanic. I don't know, Rumpelstiltskin. It could be Colorado. Okay, so nobody really knows what the CBI is. It's probably the bigger one, something that's more federally or something. Would you speak out if it was in your family? Okay, so if I was confronted by lawyers and asked not to, I obviously would obey. I wouldn't want to taint or ruin my family member's trial just because, I wanted to talk about something. That's not good. So I understand why, Kelly, that they've kind of stayed off to the side. Oh, I said it already, Farah? Okay, no problem. Watts delete his Facebook a week before the murder. Oh, really? Is that somewhere in like is that proven somewhere? I'm wondering. Had anyone else noticed on Chris' third rare interview before he was arrested? Family was out of state. Talked to his father, reading for him. Chris comment is that. Yeah, I would imagine that his dad would have come back from wherever he was or whatever he was doing because of the emergency situation. Tracy, that's my answer to that. And why did he delete his Facebook? Yeah, good question, Annie. I honestly have no idea. You're female, Rumpelstiltskin? Aw, well, that's awesome. I'm so sorry. I feel good. I'm blushing. I'm getting red. I'm sorry. It's so hard to tell. Like, you just don't know with names anymore. Oh, my apologies. That's funny. Hopefully, you're getting a little bit of a laugh at that on your end. So sorry. And you are in the UK too. Ever cool. Okay, so you're not as close to the inside of part of it, but you just have really, really good knowledge on where to search, which is awesome. Like I find you to be in wicked benefit here, so thank you. Paternal grandparents no show for the funerals. Maybe Farah. I don't know. Maybe it would have just been really too hard for for them to go and be there with all of that and with the media and stuff. Like maybe it was just too much. But have family in the States. Okay, Rumpelstiltskin, cool. Pic of the shrouded doll. I did see the pic of the doll on Facebook. I actually have a picture of it. I'll show you. In case you guys haven't seen it, I actually have a picture of it. I'll show you. Which I thought was really crazy because apparently that happened. It's right here. That was August 9th. So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I'm trying not to get the reflection, but you can see my window and stuff. So yeah, I mean, really, really weird, right? So you can see it says, I don't know. What does it say? I can't read it backwards. I don't know what to think about this. That's what it says. Sorry. Hi, Maxie. I'm okay. Thanks for asking, hon. Hope you're doing great too. It is very creepy, Danielle. Picture of the doll covered. I know, right? This is just nuts. Like, coached, yes, I think so too, Rumpelstiltskin. I'm glad you agree because I do feel like Chris Watts had some coaching from his dad on some aspect of it. I know you meant doll, not door. Stupid autocorrect stuff or whatever. Too quick of fingers sometimes. Yeah, super, super creepy. Like, what the heck is right? Like, yeah, that was the weirdest. And that was on August 9th. So, yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining, Maxie. I'm glad you could make it. Sorry, half the message came across. I was trying to say, I love the way you present your content. It reminds me of there's Chef Betsy. It's probably going to come up the rest of your message next, right? Chris sent the doll pic to Shanann, I think. Well, I found this on Facebook as a mobile upload. You can see at the bottom there. Let's see if that can focus. Mobile upload, August 9th. So we believe that it was one of the kids because Shanann says, I don't know what to think about this. So it must be one of the girls that put their doll like that. And that was a mobile upload from Shanann. We'll log off and log on again. Oh, okay, no problem, Rumpelstiltskin. on the 9th of August. Yeah, I thought it was really, really weird. But Farah, I believe it was the girls, one of the girls, probably the older one. I don't know. It's a guess. I really don't know. There is Facebook, there's information on the Facebook deletion. He is at the jail with what? A few are posting this and say finding this disturbing too. Yeah, it is a little bit weird. It's like what? Because children are, they do things based on like their parents or what they see or what they hear. They act like what they see. So for one of the children to do something like that, did they must have seen something like that in the past, or something happened, or what? Sorry. Um, yeah, very, very disturbing. I totally agree. Excuse me. Pardon me. I'm so sorry, you guys. So Shanann was away with Chris. Sent her the doll pic. It looks as if it was Shanann's upload, so August 9th. I guess we'd have to know where Shanann was on August 9th. Was she away on another Thrive trip or in another state doing something, visiting a friend, family? I mean, what, you know what I mean? Because it looks as almost as if she was the one who uploaded it. So if it was sent to her, then yeah, then like I guess Chris sent it to her, but it looks as if she took the picture and uploaded it. That's what it looks like to me. Trying to read into all these posts and videos. Yeah, it is a reflection of the times, Sarah, for sure. Have we any further updates on the case? Yes, Maxie, we had a motion filed on yesterday on Friday. Oops, sorry, that's the affidavit. Sorry. But we did have a motion filed on Friday. This motion for alternative relief in the event that his motion to interfere pursuant to the Colorado Criminal Code is denied. So I've actually tried to do some research to find out what exactly the Colorado Criminal Code page 24 or procedure 24 is, but I can't find very much information on it. It's sending me on a wild goose chase, just to find one piece of information. And I'm like, oh my goodness, never mind. She was on her last trip. Okay, Danielle. Well, if she was on her last trip and got that kind of a, you know, because I've got that kind of a picture, I would be like, what the heck is this too? Your phone is driving you nuts, Farah? Aw. The way journalism and news anchors had integrity. I'm 48, so I remember media before the advent of 24/7 news. Aw. Well, that's sweet of you. Thanks, Chef Betsy. Must be awesome to be a chef. If you're really a chef, that's so cool. Some people just use things as names, but yeah, I wish I was a chef. I wish I knew a chef that lived closer to me. Show me how to chef it up over here. Sorry, getting off topic there. I worry the jury is going to be oversaturated with these videos, not the facts. I feel that here's the thing with jury selection, Sarah. Not only do they have to find 12 people that don't know anything about this case, but they also have to have no criminal history, no criminal record at all. And that seems to be harder and harder and harder to find these days. Like the criminal world is just going crazy, and it's just getting bigger and crazier. And like I'm only 40 for crying out loud, and from when I was a teenager till now is like black and white, like night and day. Like it just doesn't even look the same, you know? Yes, yeah, Maxie. So yeah, in here, basically in this motion, they're basically asking, "Hi, from Stephanie from Saskatoon. Welcome, Canadian." I love all of you guys, though. Doesn't matter where you're from. I super want to visit the UK because I would love to just see that part of the world, knowing that it's royalty and all of that. I just would love to see that. But in this motion, Maxi, basically the counsel for Watts is stating that if there is any other information, witnesses, or evidence that the prosecution has, like they need to turn it over to the defense so that they can build their defense. Because if they don't, they are in fact messing with the due process fair trial crap, right? Because if the prosecution's not going to give the information that they have to the defense, they're not even giving the defense a chance to build a defense, right? And I'm not on Chris Watts' side with this. I'm kind of really in the middle because I just want to know what the evidence is. I want to know what happened on both sides. I'm not for him. I'm not for her. I'm just right in the middle trying to figure out who was to blame in this situation. Obviously, if it was his hands that took the life of his, family, well, he's obviously to blame. But I need to see the evidence to know, to be able to make that decision in my own mind, and until then, we're just sort of discussing it, trying to make sure that, yes, Chris Watts does get his fair process due trial and all of that stuff so that there's no chance that he can walk away if he is responsible. Now, like, we don't know anything that happened on Shanann's side, and so much has been kept secret, it's hard to form an opinion at all, right? I think, Danielle, I think there's probably a lot of other people that don't badmouth Shanann. And I like to stay neutral because I just like to know the evidence. That's where I make my decision, as to he's guilty or he's innocent. But we don't have enough of that information for me personally to be able to make that decision. So until then, we're just sort of talking it out. Change of venue. Sarah. You follow all my vids, Stephanie? Oh, that's so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. I am from Canada. I'm in Manitoba. Next court date for Chris Watts is November, let me just triple check that. November 19th, sorry. And then I'm also on top of the Turpin case, so they're due back November 30th. So we'll have some updates on that too. Yeah, can sit through this case and not want to kill him because I would. I mean, if I was any of the family of Shanann's, I'd want to kill him too. I mean, that's your aunt or your sister-in-law or your daughter or you know what I mean? Like, obviously her family would love to just get him in a room by himself, right? But that's providing that everything that the prosecution thinks is true, and we don't actually know that yet. Just want to know what happened, Annie. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I would love to go to the trial too, Annie and Anne. Sorry, Anne. I don't know if that's something that I'm going to be able to make happen in that short of a time frame, but it is something I want to stay on top of for future cases, that are of high profile like this that everybody's interested in, to go and get my own footage for you guys, so you guys can actually see something from me firsthand and not maybe me seeing it from, a news channel that happened to be in the courtroom or on site. Was just going to ask you if you follow the Turpin trial too. Yes, I do, Stephanie. I'm very much on top of that. I think I have about 15 plus videos on my channel about them. So I just don't think he will tell the whole truth, Tracy. That's possible, but I don't know how much he's going to be able to lie his way through this. I mean, the camera footage that Nathaniel even has, or I think it was Nathan or Nathaniel, the neighbor, regardless, obviously would have some footage. It was Nathaniel. So he has that surveillance footage. So there should be something on there, and he probably just didn't think that far through that there might be somebody with cameras that could see what he was doing. But he definitely knew there was no cameras in the back. So I don't know. It's possible something went down in the back. Can't wait for that one. Thanks, Maxie. Maybe the defense team might want to move the trial to another county. Hey, Farah, that's possible. That could be like a one last motion or something to his case or his trial. But I guess that would depend on how difficult of a time that they're having finding 12 people. I would imagine that these 12 people are going to end up, most of them are going to be elderly or older, because a lot of the older folks just they aren't on social media very much. They aren't on the internet very much. They maybe watch the news or read newspapers and some of them don't even do that. So, bonjour, Francine. Late, you'll catch up. No problem. Mwah. I've been following it from the beginning too. Yes, I was able to look at their Facebook profile before it was taken down. Oh, really? That's interesting, Stephanie. What did you see on the profile? Yes, Danielle, that's exactly what I'm curious about. The Turpin profile. Yes, that's okay. Well, so what did you see on there? I'm curious. And was it Louise's profile? He had an attached garage. Yes, Chris Watts had an attached garage. Yes. But his garage opened at the front of his house, but the back didn't have any cameras, but it was still under construction stuff because they're building, it's a new development area she's living in. It was a joint profile for David and Louise. Interesting. Was there any videos by chance? Did you know? Did you see? Oh man, my back and neck. I can't lean over like that too much. Lawyers for prosecution could have a field day for premeditated with the doll photo. Yeah, Rita, that's probably a really good observation there. In my personal opinion, what do I think? Well, I kind of do lean towards him snapping only because of how Shanann was a little bit impatient or just not very nice sometimes. But I gotta tell you guys, on a personal note, I too used to act like that towards my baby father when I was frustrated with him or when he wasn't working. I lost a lot of respect for him. It was easier for me to mistreat him, you know what I mean, during our relationship and stuff. But at the same time, her body had went through back-to-back pregnancies, and it takes a good 2 years to get your body back to sort of normal hormone levels and stuff like that after a pregnancy. So, I feel like Shanann wasn't even quite there for her normal hormone state, never mind the fact of all the Thrive. I don't know what that would have even done to her hormonal state because of all the caffeine and stuff. I could imagine the house being like very, jittery and very go, go, go or something, but I don't know, right? Yeah, but I think that he may have snapped. I think that could be true. But the emotional conversation that they had before that snapping is what makes me think there must be something more to this story as to why her phone was up in the highest part of the house, and then what was on those phones that maybe have any evidence of discussion of problems, possible, violence, whatever the heck else happened there. Oh, she definitely did not deserve to die. No. Sorry guys, I don't misjudge that like at all. No matter how bitter or angry or whatever she was, she did not deserve to die. I'm just going to pull this a little bit closer, you guys, so I can read it a little bit better. High-risk pregnancy, yeah. We don't know if she was on Thrive when she was pregnant, but I believe that she was because she was constantly sort of like selling it. She was constantly embellishing it. She was constantly uploading about it. So I believe that yes, she she was probably still doing some of it, probably the patch, maybe not the shake so much because it literally has a warning label on there that if you're pregnant to not take it. I don't know if all of you guys saw that, but I do actually have the shake here. Maybe I did chuck it. I might have chucked it already, you guys, because I wasn't planning on taking it myself. But you know, after I had read all those warnings and the labels there, so I was like, oh, I don't know. I may have already actually chucked it there. We can all think snap at times, but we would never kill our kids. Yeah, exactly. Kill our partner. Yeah. Should have walked away. Yes, he should have calmed down, gone for a walk. Because honestly, he's ruined his own life entirely by doing this to Shanann. So, what benefit did this have for him, right? Everything would have been easier. Yeah. Yes, she was, Danielle, giving her kids Thrive. She may have only been giving them the bars, but if the pills and the shake had the warning on it, the patches that I got only they were just on a clear sheet, so you couldn't see any ingredients or anything. And from what I hear from other people, it is just more caffeine stuff. So and some vitamins and some minerals and whatever, but not good for kids. And it says that on the shake to keep away from children. It says that on the pills to keep away from children, and it says on both of them to not take them when you're pregnant. So I don't know why. If she was continuing with that, I don't know why. Like, I don't know, Farah, because I feel like in my own personal life, I've kind of snapped sometimes where you're just like a screaming, bluttering idiot for a while because you're so upset or angry about something that's happened, you know, but you calm down. I don't know. I feel like there's a line in the normal folk that realize, okay, you know, I need to just step back and breathe, you know, 10 minutes or get away from this because it's just pissing me off so much, you know, but to snap and kill someone and take their whole breath away, I don't get that, you know? Yeah, this a Scott Peterson case for sure. I sincerely think he thought he was going to get away with this too, Sarah. And I feel like he sort of almost concocted this whole situation with the press and everything. Like he's almost sort of set up the potential mistrial himself by lying to the media. And the media, of course, is just having a heyday with that, right? I think he thought, yeah, yeah, Shelly. I think he thought maybe he was going to get away with this too. Yeah, so I'm hoping that they're going to get that information, whatever the prosecution has. Really, they should turn over to the defense like now. They should have done that last week, is what I feel like. You know, so we can get this fair process and due trial and all this due process and fair trial done correctly, and let's just get on with it already. He did keep grinning in the interview. It was really weird. I don't understand what. I don't know if that was like a nervous chuckle because I do that sometimes where I get a little bit nervous and I'm like, ha ha ha, you know, or I stumble my words or whatever. I don't know if that's what that was or if it was him, you know, not just knowing that he was the one that did so wrong and, you know, he's laughing about it. I don't know. Like it could be the sinister version, it could be the nervous version. And there definitely was a scratch or something on his neck or a bite mark or something. And I wonder, was that one of the kids or was that her? Yeah. That's why it's such a mystery. Yes, it is. Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, why did you think you were even going to get away with that when the neighbor has cameras all around their own house? You may not, but the fine line of narcissist psychopath. What would people think of him if he's left his pregnant wife and kids? I don't know. Do you think he would have been worried about that? Possibly, I guess. I think it depends on maybe what Shanann had over him. They were together for a long time, you know, and who knows what his past is because everything is so secretive about him. It's possible that she knew some things about him and maybe threatened to out him about some things or something, and that made him lose it. Maybe he is bisexual. Maybe they've done things together. Who knows what their relationship fully was like behind closed doors, especially if nobody's going to open up about it. Everybody's so quiet. In the phone evidence, Shelley, I'm very interested in the phone evidence because that I think would hold a huge piece right before she's about to die. Who was she talking to? What was she saying? You know, what had happened there, right? If there's a what? A Fitbit evidence? What's that mean, Stephanie? In fact, he did all of them. If in fact he did all of them, why no signs of offensive injuries? You would think that Shanann would have put up a fight. I think she would have too. But he did have like a scratch or something on his neck. Who knows if he had some concealer over some of that? He could have been covering it, right? There's a lot of good concealers out there that match your skin tone and stuff. It was very faint. Composed to give an interview. Scott Peterson, yeah. What's your name? Drew Peterson. Sue Smith, yeah. Well, I think that, and he probably knew that because everybody was at the work site where he supposedly went to go check up on it. Well, yeah, he didn't really check up on the site. He was going to dispose of bodies there, right? And that was just his reasoning for going to the site, because he was going to check up on the work site. Why do you need to check up on your work site, in the middle of the night, like, kind of thing? Measure steps. Yes, the Fitbit. Okay, yeah, that's true. Fitbit watch, yeah. Yes, Sarah, the one who drove her kids into the lake. That case was brutal too. I mean, absolutely heartless. How you could do that and watch that. Oh my goodness, like just brutal. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was in the affidavit. He had stated that he went to his work site to check up on it. So I think that would have just been like a common sense to the investigation, where the officers would have been like, well, that was where he last was. Let's send a drone over there and see if there's any, you know, newly disturbed dirt or anything in the area that would link, something else reasoning on to as to why he was there. Been murder suicide, but he chickened out and couldn't kill himself. Yes, Farah, that's possible, that he was considering doing that, and then that just didn't quite, he couldn't follow through with it all. I don't know. Yeah. Then there's the one who drowned her children. I know, like, how do you know, like, those kind of people, in my opinion, should never be allowed to reproduce again. And I don't mean like castration and stuff, but like they should have to go through surgery to never be able to bring children into this world again. After Chris talked to his father, he turned himself in and confessed. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, why did he need to talk to his dad first before he told the truth? Did his dad help him concoct some sort of an argument or story here? Or, you know, because it's it's quite obvious his father and mother and his family are going to be on his side with whatever has happened, right? I would think, you know. And I would think that Chris's family had probably seen or heard Shanann acting inappropriately if she did that on video sometimes. She probably did it in person in general. Sarah, then go on TV. They all weren't believable. Chris Watts gone gave the interview and failed at convincibility. Yeah, he sure did, Sarah. Must have missed that. Thank you, Sherry. Did not know he'd gone to check on something at work. Yeah, yeah. Listen to this statement in the paragraph. Chris stated around 5:27 a.m. he backed his truck up to the garage door to load up tools and left for work, and that Shanann was in bed when he left. Note: a neighbor's video surveillance system recorded this event. Chris said Shanann told him she was going to a friend's house later that day with their two children, but didn't know the friend's name. Chris, who works for Anadarko, stated he went to a job site near Hudson to check on it. Like that's what it says, just to check on it. So I don't know. Weird, right? So actually hitting up an oil field site after hours isn't odd in itself, but his whole story is sketchy and non-believable regardless. Thanks, Magnum, for sharing that, for sure. Yeah, I've never talked about a trial with interested people before. Do this again, Sherry. I'm going to head out now. Cheers, Stephanie. It's good to see you or meet you, sort of. Can't really see you, but you know what I mean. It's good to kind of meet you. That's what I was. Have a wonderful day too. Sorry, Stephanie. That's what I was wondering. He said they were out of state, but then a few hours later, his dad was at the police department. Yeah, well, I'd imagine, Tracy, that he phoned his dad and told him, you know, he was arrested and for what, and that he needed to talk to him like ASAP. Yeah, Francine, it doesn't make too much sense. You know, he's loading up his tools just to go check on a site. I don't know. Maybe you need certain tools to check on a site. I'm not sure. You're back. The internet was shut down. Yeah. Um, Very interesting. All of what's happened, and I really wanted to dissect this affidavit because there was a few things in there that just didn't really jive very well for me. You know, I was like, what is that? And the whole baby monitor thing, like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of baby monitors in my life, but I've never seen a baby monitor in full-fledged color, you know, with as much detail as a TV would have, you know. And it says that you know, while in the bedroom via baby monitor located at Shanann's nightstand, he observed Bella sprawled out on her bed and blue, and Shanann actively strangling Celeste. So I don't know, like I've had a lot of baby monitors and I've never had one that high tech, although I haven't had a baby in 15 years. So I don't really know what the heck's all on the market as far as baby monitors go, you know? Maybe there is something out in the US that's that technology savvy that you can actually see the color of someone's skin, you know, through the baby monitor. Like that's a little bit, that's really high tech, like holy. But I mean, there's technology is pretty advanced, so maybe this is possible. I don't know. Does anybody else out there know? Has anybody had a friend maybe recently have a baby or been shopping around that area that maybe had seen like some new technology? Chris's job function, Farah, it doesn't actually state what he did. I'm guessing the girls shared a bedroom because if the baby monitor was on Shanann's nightstand and he could see both kids, they must share a bedroom. I don't know though. Maybe they have their own bedroom, but sometimes they sleep together. It was a really big house, right? So I'm really not sure. The other thing is at the very last paragraph in this affidavit says, prior to Chris's confession, investigators arrived at that work site to initiate a drone search of the area. At approximately 4:15 p.m., investigators spotted a bed sheet in the field near the tank battery. The sheet matched the pattern of several pillowcases and a top sheet recovered from a kitchen trash can from the Watts residence early that day. The search was conducted with prior consent provided by Chris. The drone search also revealed fresh movement of dirt consistent with a clandestine grave. But why is there sheets in the trash can at the Watts residence? What was on those sheets? Maybe those sheets had foul play on it. And that's not to say like he stabbed them or he, cut them in any way that they were bleeding, but if he would have used that sheet somehow, maybe to strangle, I don't know, or suffocate, I don't know how. I've obviously never killed anybody and I won't, right? But I don't know how the hell he did this or why some of these things were in the places that they were in and, what the reasoning was behind that. So, like, one of the sheets that was from the house was all the way out at the work site, but then one of those same sheets was in the trash can at the Watts residence. So, really, really confusing. And I want to know if that sheet has any foul play on it. Did they check that one? Because if all they checked was the sheets in the bedroom on the floor, which would have been the top sheet from what I'm reading or something, and it didn't have anything on it, what about the rest of them? Did you check those ones too, kind of thing? I'm sure they did, but we don't have that info. Is that still his defense? Baby monitor? Crap. I don't know. I really don't know if that's going to be his defense at this point. Yeah, it was a big house, though. Daughter's monitor can be in color and in black and white. So could be. Okay, Maxie. Well, thanks for that. So hers on one video, it was like a blue, not colored at night. So, yeah, like it's like a little TV with camera in the bedroom. Okay. I heard there was also blood found. Well, see, then that's what I mean. Like, if there was any blood found, especially on the sheet in the kitchen, like what happened with that? And I'm just curious, Danielle, G Marie behind the mask. I'm just wondering where you may have heard that or saw that. Thanks for the thumbs up, you guys. I really appreciate the support. That's awesome. If he was strangling Shanann, that indicates to me that Shanann should have been in the girls' room. Why the bedroom sheets come to play, other than maybe using a sheet to dispose or move the girls. Oh, I never thought of that. Hi, Yvette. How you doing? Thanks so much. I'm getting more thumbs up. I really appreciate that. That's awesome, guys. Yeah, so I don't know what he would have used. And if there was any blood, then I'd like to know whose blood that was. I can imagine Shanann fighting back. I can imagine, that situation not going as easily as maybe he thought it was going to go. If someone feels like they're going to lose their life, they're going to fight till the death, right? With everything they got. So LE. Rumpelstiltskin, what's LE? Working and listening. Oh, that's great, Yvette. LE already had a drone at the tank site before Watts spoke to his father. So obviously they would have seen, but they did end up getting permission from the site in order to search that place. So that's what they really needed. Hopefully they did that before they sent that drone over. The defense might have a reason to have that evidence thrown out before having consent to do so, right? I've read so many different articles. Yeah, Danielle, I hear you. But I wonder how true that stuff is, Hands are busy delivering mail. No problem, Yvette. Law enforcement. Oh, thanks, guys. LE. Sorry, Rumpelstiltskin. Sometimes abbreviations and me, I mean, we just don't get along. I'm like, what? Honestly, can't remember where I heard it from. It was a YouTube video. Maybe they coughed up blood or something. Shit my head. Yeah, okay. Yes. Sorry, you guys, Rumpelstiltskin and Farah. Sometimes the easiest of abbreviations. It's like, how come she didn't know that? I'm sorry. I am blonde sometimes. But yeah, I wonder too now that the picture with the doll that was covered, I do wonder if that was something that was happening with Chris Watts home alone with the girls, or was there something more to that? You hear the abbreviator encyclopedia? Well, that's great to have. Thank you for being here, Farah. Seriously, I need you. I'm just not shy to admit if I don't know something or I'm kind of confused or, because I don't want to misread something or misthink it in a way that you guys aren't trying to ask, right? So, and I'm definitely not a know it all. I'm just like, huh? Somebody help. Yes, that's awesome. So there's definitely some things in this affidavit that I feel are a little bit left unanswered, especially the camera footage from the neighbor, and the fact that Chris says that he put all three of their bodies on the back seat of their truck. So if he put them on the back seat of their truck, I'm pretty sure the camera footage from the neighbor will show that. But there's the only thing it states is that they show the footage backing into the backing the cab into the garage. So, which I don't think he backed the whole truck in, but from what I think of it. It does say as a result of the termination, Shanann died. So it is confusing how it reads. Yeah, that is true. I don't think that would pertain too much, Rumpelstiltskin, because pregnancies terminate sort of all the time, and it never kills the woman unless there's like a bleeding out or something like that. But I don't know. That would have been a lot of blood. You'd think we'd know about that if there was a big mess, or like, let's say for instance he maybe punched her in the stomach and that created for a miscarriage. But even then, like, I don't think there's a ton of bleeding to that. I've never miscarried though, so I don't really know. Hi, Critter. Yes. Trying to clean up. Rumbled him. What do you mean, Rumpelstiltskin, where you say, Bo, he was trying to clean up? Nicole rumbled him by calling for a welfare check? Oh, you mean because of the making sure that she was okay and stuff. I get it. Yeah, but you would think that you would think the investigators would have already found places that had been cleaned up, like that he had tried to get rid of blood or evidence. You'd be able to smell like cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So it's too close of a time frame, in my opinion, for them to have not noticed something like that. And they went through the whole house with the cadaver dogs. Sorry, I'm too French sometimes. No idea what kind of evidence the police may have collected. I have never killed anyone. Not sure exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. I totally can relate to your thought process there, G Marie, because yeah, like how can we even wrap our heads around this? Love my channel. Oh, thanks, Corey. Thanks so much. You think the sick monster cut out the fetus? Yeah, I don't think he would have done that, Critter. And like I say, there would have been a ton of blood from something like that. There would have been cleanup from that. And Nicole had sort of, like you do say, interrupted. And he wasn't even home when the officers and everybody was there. When Nicole was there and the officers showed up, he was on his way back because Nicole had called him to say, like, the door's locked. That's the other thing, is the door was locked from the inside. But he did have a garage, so it's possible he put the latch on and then went out the garage, right? So people die. A lot of bodily fluids come out. That is true, Shelley. Yes. Anything that you're holding, urine, feces, it will come out when you die. He had time. He was going back to clean up so he could fake the vanishing of his family. Yeah, I don't know, Rumpelstiltskin. You see him sitting on her, pinned down till she miscarried to hurt. Yeah, I don't know if that would even be possible either, because I don't know if pressure necessarily is what causes for a fetus to, to miscarry. Did they both wear an Apple Watch? Well, Rumpelstiltskin, that would be some really good evidence right there as to where all they had walked and been. I would definitely be trying to, or I would be figuring out that. Misunderstood about the quantity of blood. Yeah. Yeah, I actually didn't actually really know too much about the Apple Watches. But if those things, if that technology is creating so that it will show a pattern as to where they've been and where they've walked and all that stuff, I'd be on top of that Apple Watch, and I'd be on top of that in the investigation. Seriously smart thinking of the Apple Watch. No kidding, critters. It is a quitter's heartland. They did have an Alexa, but I don't know what the Alexa is. I think it was something that you ordered things from. They are like Fitbit for the watches. Yeah. Never miscarried either. Yeah. I don't know. Has anybody on here miscarried? I know that's a really personal question, you guys, but if you could help us to understand, is that something that happens? Do you bleed a lot as a woman when you miscarry? I'm not sure. Both wore it. Law enforcement have all the tech stuff. Oh, I'm sure they definitely do. Going through it religiously. Yes, you're probably right, Rumpelstiltskin, for sure. He gave it to her for her birthday. So that would be interesting to kind of see where all she had even been, right? To see if there was anything going on her side. Was she having an affair? Was she talking with someone else? Because she did have a lot of close male friends that were in Thrive with her, right? Miscarried 12 times. Oh my gosh, my girl, I'm so sorry to hear about that. So a little blood, that wouldn't constitute, I think, like a huge mess that he'd have to clean. And I don't think the cadaver dogs would have missed that. Those dogs are trained to smell drugs or blood or the scent of someone and follow it. Yeah, that is sad, critter. But thank you for the insight on that. It takes way more time to miscarry. That's the only thing they could charge him with for baby Nico. Well, now that they have the Nico law in place, like because of this case, they are going to change that and make that law something that is in Colorado state now, where it wasn't before. So at least the death of baby Nico and Shanann sort of had some good come out of it. That's my guess, is that, like, that's my analogy to that. Like, it's so sad that they had to lose their life. But look, at this law came out of this so that if anybody ever killed a fetus again, would be in trouble. So, Shelly, how much time does it take to miscarry? And so, like, here's the thing. Obviously, if you stop the breath of the mother that's pregnant, the fetus naturally dies, right? Because it has no more air supply to continue living. So What I don't understand is why it's reversed. Because you killed the fetus, Shanann died. That doesn't make any sense. I think that's just legal wording or something on how they have charged him with that final charge there of terminating pregnancy. That is very far into the pregnancy. A huge mess would have been done. Okay, well, it is far into the pregnancy. The dogs were barking during the interview. Yeah. I miscarried, yes, did bleed. It was like a heavy menstrual 3 times. Okay. All right. Thanks, Tracy, for sharing that. Well, the thing about premeditation and stuff is like, even if he premeditatedly thought of it 1 second before he actually committed the crime, it's considered second degree murder. So, like, I don't know how premeditated this was, or which way they're going to go with that as far as, first degree or second degree, because it's such a fine line between the two. It's literally like a fraction of a second of a thought can put you into second degree murder. I don't know if there was any blood either, Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah. Well, and I don't know, like, I guess we would think we would have heard about something like that by now, right? If there was a bunch of blood, or there was a bunch of bodily fluids that were found at the home. So, because they checked the bed and the bedding for foul play. So, you're a real life chef? Nice. Had a college degree in culinary arts and did my internship in Italy and Bulgaria. Oh my. If I'm ever in upstate New York, it's an open invitation to dine in on the house. That would be amazing, Chef Betsy. Amazing. I'll have to come just for dinner someday. That would be amazing. Danielle, the dogs had alerted to cadaver dog or cadaver odor. Bodily fluids, when a person dies, it happens. Urine, feces, absolutely true, Farah. Yep. Bodily fluids would have been present, for all three of them. But where, and how come he was able to, they weren't able to find any of that, it seems like. Yeah, that would be awesome, Chef Betsy. Upstate New York. Wow. That would just be, we'll have to stay in touch. We'll have to email because I don't even know where that is really. Um, I've not been outside of Canada very much, to be honest with you guys. I've been to very small places in the US, like Grand Forks and Fargo. So just for shopping back in the day when the dollar was good. Now it's like $1.30 for $1. I'm like, no thanks. Yeah, he may have thought he'd have more time to clean stuff up, but it's like, how come they never found any of those bodily fluids in the home anywhere? She didn't miscarry. Please read the charging sheet. Yeah, I do see that he is charged with termination of a pregnancy. So it's not that she miscarried or anything. He terminated that pregnancy, but it's kind of leaning towards the fact that because that pregnancy was terminated is the reason on why Shanann died. But I look at that as opposite. I would think that Shanann dying would have terminated that pregnancy. Him strangling her would have in turn killed the fetus. Yeah, his face did say it all. Wearing Apple Watches. Okay. Rochester, New York, and Lake Ontario. Are you serious? So all I have to do is go to Niagara Falls and then take the bridge and go across. Well, that would be cool. I bet you it would be a little bit of a ways because I think it's another place that's right there. And I think I don't know what the name of it is right now. Shoot. But it's a bridge that's shared with the US and you just pay a toll fee and you can go across. Is this still on the news a lot? I only get your updates. Though it's not really on the news a lot. It's I mean, it's not on it a lot though, you know? Yes, Farah. Okay, see that's what I thought, right? If he killed her, then naturally he terminated the pregnancy. Like because she was dead and not breathing, he couldn't anymore. Thank you so much, you guys, for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. We've gone a lot further into the hour that I usually like to keep this on, but I really enjoy our interacting and our conversations. So I'll let it go, and we'll just enjoy it, right? Not necessarily bleed with miscarriage. Some women do, others don't. Okay. It's called a retained miscarriage, which is what happened to me. No blood. Okay. Okay, good to know, Rumpelstiltskin. Yes, Karen. What did Karen say? Let's all go on a big field trip to Colorado for the trial. That would be amazing, Karen. Sorry I missed that. There's so many comments that sort of came up. Neck damn, sorry driving. That's okay, Nancy. No worries. Don't drive unsafely, please. I do not want you getting in an accident because of my channel or you're listening to me. Focus on the road. Karen, yeah, we get kicked out of the courtroom. Too many people. Yeah, that's probably true, Sarah. I would like to go to the court. I am hoping it's videotaped. I am too, Shelly, but I have a feeling that they're going to keep the press out of it. Hi, Ola Dijo. Thanks for joining. I'd love to, but in the UK, Maxie, I'd love to as well. I'm actually, I'm hoping that I will be able to travel to the trial. If I can't make it to this one, maybe, and the next big case or whatever. The autopsy will reveal much, I would think. Yes. Do they often release autopsies before the trial? Yes, they do. The only real reason, Francine, that they even keep the autopsies secret is because it might have pertinent information to find the killer. So that's really like confusing to all of us in the United States as well as Canada. Is like why are you withholding this information when the killer's already been arrested? Unless the real killer hasn't been arrested yet, and maybe this is not, he didn't do this and it was someone else or some, I don't know, like that's just a completely left field yes, right? But usually the autopsy reports are released. There is no real reason to keep it a secret once the person who committed the crime is arrested. Hi, Christine. You're leaving now, Chef Betsy? Chefsy. Oh my goodness. Chef Betsy, have a great day. I hope to meet you one day and come for that lunch or dinner for sure. That would be wonderful. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for being so awesome too. Oh, Maxie, that's so cool. Yeah, she's from the UK. I bet you she has a wicked accent. Like if we could hear each other talking, I bet you she has a really cool accent. I love those kind of accents. 6 hours from me. Nice. Tracy's heading over to Chef Betsy. That's awesome. Yeah, that will be awesome. If you do get to go share. Yeah, I would really like to, Maxie, and I will definitely keep you guys posted. From Oregon. Nice. That's awesome, Shelly. It's so they can get him in premeditation. Think about it. He says Shanann strangled the girls, and he went into a rage, strangled her, yet he knows by doing so it kills their unborn son. Gotta run. See you, Danielle. Take care. Florida, lovely. Yes, Rumpelstiltskin. I know it's quite leaning that way, but there's just so many unanswered questions that I can't really say for sure. You're in New Jersey, G. Marie. I think that's New Jersey, right? NJ? That's awesome. Well, this has been like really, really great discussion and stuff. It was really nice to spend some time to sort of hash out the newest motion that was set by Chris Watts's lawyer on Friday, and then to also just dissect this arrest affidavit just to see what all was said, what all was done. And I kind of even feel like the arrest affidavit doesn't have enough details. There are some things that just kind of trickle off as to, okay, so what happened with that? Did you see the rest of the footage? Or, there's so many unanswered questions still. So yes, I think it's so cool that we can discuss things from all over together, you know. Maxie, I think we've all got problems no matter where you live, but it's just making the best of it and not dwelling, I think is probably the best way to handle it. I just can't see Chris killing the girls, killing Shanann. Yes, yes, I can see him doing that out of hate or anger. Yeah. I don't know anything about parapsychology, K Boogie. If you are somebody who is a psychologist or in that department, that would be great if you could share with us what that is, and then we can discuss it for sure. Ace Annie, teammate, love it. Shanann would not kill her girls. I don't know if Shanann would have done that either, to be honest. Like that's really I don't know. Thanks so much. It was very good to chat. Absolutely, Tracy. Yes. Agree with Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, it's really difficult to know at this point. So I do just want to wrap this up because it has been a whole half hour past our usual hour for talking together. So, I will come back Tuesday as usual, and we'll try to do this sort of twice a week to just sort of hash out, different questions or, different cases together. So thank you guys all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. And we'll see you again next time, okay? Take care, everybody. Mwah. Bye for now.